All right, it's time to take a look at the newspapers today to see what stories are on their front pages. And to do that with us in the studio is Ife Onyegbule. Good morning to you and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Morning, Ife. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you again.
All right, so let's go with the Punch newspaper first off. The major story here is Fayoshe. I will be at EFCC on Tuesday with my bedcloth, pillowcase. And then the rider, we have no time for your games. EFCC replies.
I think they understand. They understand
really been very dramatic with it.
Very dramatic. But maybe he has an idea of what it's going to be. And they're just saying to him, leave the drama out of it. You have questions to answer. Come and answer it just as every other Nigerian. But you know, when you look at what's happening on social media, people are just talking about it. He's losing his immunity in the next how many hours and all of that. There's so much drama in Nigeria. Every week there's one drama that we have to, dance around.
And I understand he organized a get-together and then had to, shed some tears and cry, and whatever that was.
How many people even attended?
Oh, well.
Even the rally that he had.
Yeah, he had a rally.
I wonder, where is everybody who used to follow him everywhere he went? And that's what happens. Leaders need to understand that power is transient.
Very transient, exactly.
You're there today, your phones will ring in and ring in. Once you're out, no one...
Because it's not about you in the first place. It's about the office that you carry.
Wow. Exactly.
Yes.
A huge lesson there, really, not just for politicians alone, but for every person. All right, so let's look at other stories. Let's start from the top left of the paper. Ganduje, Kano Assembly raises panel to probe alleged bribery video. Of course.
Alleged. Let's always remember that word.
Of
course.
There have been so many programs about fake news and all that, the way people embellish things. Let's wait and see where that investigation will go. Then we can take it from there.
Exactly.
All right. 2019, atop that story, Reps slate rejected electoral bill for fresh debate Tuesday. Yeah, they're not giving up. Let's move on. Exam malpractices, Adeleke, others to be arraigned October the 31st. And then beside the masthead, APC remains barred from elections in Zamfara. INEC insists. Remember the drama that went on, the crisis right now.
I can't wrap my head around how that is going to happen. How do you just say they're bad, they're out? So who will be contested?
Other political parties.
The guidelines said if you are going to field any candidate for this election, round off on your primary election before October the 7th. So they couldn't meet October 7th. So if you don't meet October 7th, they just stand disqualified automatically. So as far as INEC is concerned, APC in Zamfara State, from House of Assembly to House of Rep to Senate and governorship, no candidate for you. So
every other party
can field candidates.
But some APC chieftains have said that they are in custody of some documents that can legally back them to,
so go to court.
So I waited to see what was absolutely.
Well, I think it just has to do with testing the legal system, just for testing's sake. Because the point there is, if there was, because the national chairman was saying that there is consensus, they agreed on the consensus. Whatever consensus you agreed, INEC doesn't want to know. Theirs is that give us your candidate before October 7th.
And since you couldn't do that, then that's it for you. But since they say they have documents that can back them up and maybe save them from this.
Let's hear what the court will say then.
All right, let's just run through. Petrol price should be reviewed regularly, say marketers. Oil workers block Imo government house, demand salaries. And of course, the sad story we read earlier, Boko Haram kills another aid worker. FG, BBOG Express, shock.
Very
sad. Very sad.
All right, let's move to the next paper now. The Nation newspaper is the next. Buhari's travel ban on 50 VIPs sparks legal battle. Activists, others back Buhari as lawyers go to appeal court.
Everyone will keep talking
about it.
Yeah,
of course.
People will keep talking about it. Is it right? Is it wrong? But this is a political time. Some people might want to score some points about it, cheap points about it. In that list, here there's a man who had passed on, and you wonder, how can anyone embarrass the government by, making him or having his name, attached to that kind of list? Why didn't you check through to see that there's someone who has already passed on?
But then now it becomes interesting, really, because the presidency has come out to say that no list has been published yet, and then you wonder where Nigerians got so many names. Absolutely.
Because the presidential spokesman said that any list that you're seeing is not from them. So I wonder how that name was, how the names or the list
came out.
Exactly, came out. So, like you were talking about earlier about the issue of fake news and all of that.
There are too many things.
But the point there is, 50 names. Nigerians are asking, is it just 50 people?
And what is the
criteria
for picking these 50?
We'll be talking about this on the show later on, so I'd like us to just glide over it. And Kuka Oyedepo deny endorsing Atiku. Clerics defend integrity. Well, there has been a lot of controversy in the past few days when they were all present, when Atiku paid a visit to...
big meeting.
The big meeting. The big meeting. Atiku paid a visit to former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and after the snapshot, the photo and all of that, and people were saying, oh, so Kuka and Oyedepo had endorsed Atiku. But they're coming out to clear...
Another crazy news was that the bishop collected some money to fuel his... How do people just sit down and cook up such stories?
Indeed.
Photoshop it and spread it. It's really bad.
Well, they have clarified and said
we were just part of the meeting.
Peace. That's all.
And we're not endorsing anybody.
Endorsing anyone. Oshundare to fire me, restore Ekiti's dignity. New dawn begins. All right. That's following the swearing in of the new governor of Ekiti. Alleged exam fraud. Adeleke, others charged. Senator absent. And then we have another headline here. Federal government shocked as Boko Haram kills aid worker. Well, the way this paper puts it, I wonder if Nigerians are shocked that the federal government is shocked.
That's a big question. But what you expect, sometimes it's make-believe. You have to show that,
empathy.
Show empathy. This is what you're feeling. I'm sure if it went the other way, people will still complain. Why is it that the government is not showing
the reason Nigerians are complaining is that these people had threatened long ago. They had said that the federal government is not coming forth. The federal government is not saying anything. We're going to kill these people, or just putting it in the very.
So that shouldn't leave them
notice.
Exactly, that's all we're saying.
There was a notice to it.
All right, 6.6 million people to vote in Lagos in the 2019 election.
That's huge.
That's really huge, I must say, really huge. But one thing there is, people who are registered to vote don't necessarily come out on the day of voting.
In this part of the world, in this part of the country, let me put it that way. But you find that in some other parts, like the north, I'm sure you've heard, they don't joke with it.
They don't.
They step out. Some even volunteer their homes to say, come and do this registration, come and pick up your PVC. Well, we're kind of elitist in this part of the world. Oh, it's sunny. Oh, it's raining. I can't step out. They've already decided. They've already decided who is going to be.
They prefer monitoring the election on the social media.
And they forget that there is no polling booth on the social media.
Exactly.
You just make all the noise, you watch TV, you take pictures, you post, and you talk. Meanwhile, those people over there in the north, they're very aware. When you talk about politics,
politically, they
come out, they vote.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
I think Lagos, the people in Lagos, you need to wake up. The votes should begin to count. You need to speak with your voice. Don't sit and say they already have an idea who it's going to be. Because you don't step out there to vote. Some will say, let me waste my vote, I don't want to go. Someone will vote on your behalf.
Every vote counts.
Togolese rapes teenagers in Lagos. I wonder whether it matters whether the guy is Togolese or
Ghanaian or Nigerian. What matters
is a rape took place. Is the case. That's the case.
It is wrong.
Profiling.
It is wrong. Something needs to be done about it.
All right, so we'll go quickly to the Daily Sun. Major story here is the unfortunate incident that happened yesterday. That's murdered by Boko Haram. Insurgents killed another Red Cross woman, vowed to make Leah slave. How Anita Capson was murdered by police. Family, that was a Nigerian that was allegedly murdered in Abuja, shot by a police officer. So let's just leave that. We'll go to the top right, beside the masthead of the Daily Sun. Protest rocks Aba over pipeline explosion death. Police confirm 20 dead. NEMA blames incident on poor maintenance. Poor maintenance claiming lives of Nigerians.
It's really something to worry about, but there's more to that story. You know, when you talk about pipeline, vandalism and all of that, then you now talk about maintenance. We need to find out what went wrong.
Indeed.
But it's really sad that that number of persons had to lose their lives. We must be very careful. Every life should matter in Nigeria. You know, you wake up, when you hear about deaths, it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't anymore. It doesn't.
You're like, oh, it's happened again. And it shouldn't be like
that. That was why a public figure one time like that, I don't want to mention his name, said when there were some killings in the state, said there were just, and there were you know, contradictions on the figures of people killed, and he said no, we're just about this number.
Human
not
beings.
Exactly. Every life, like you said, should matter. Let's go to other stories. PDP bigwigs behind oil subsidy scam. Buhari's aid. Well, Keyamo defending acts of corruption. PDP talking there, firing back. It seems to be a back and forth as we enter the election year between the two major parties, APC on one side and the PDP.
It's going to be very dramatic, I'm telling you.
It's going to be very dramatic. Really dramatic.
But many say, why are you looking at the APC and the PDP? I said, look, these are the front runners, for crying out loud. These are the people who have come up to say, look, we are in,
you're really now the third force?
In the game. There's the third force and there are some other smaller parties. Now, who are these persons? I've always asked questions. Who is the vice presidential choice for this person, that person? You've not been able to see. And people are dropping off to say, I'm supporting this person. It's going to be a clash of the titans.
Indeed. No candidates for APC in Zamfara. INEC insists we must field candidates in 2019 elections. APC is saying that. We already talked about it. So let's see who wins. Like Mike said earlier, we have to test the law.
The laws, exactly. We'll go to court.
Yeah. Presidency, I never endorsed Atiku, says Oyedepo. We talked about that as well. And then alleged exam malpractice. FG charges Adeleke, 4 others to court. I don't want to say the dancing senator.
All right. Okay. Well, he is a dancing senator. Everyone knows that. In fact, there was...
Very flexible.
Yeah,
very flexible. The man knows
person.
how to dance, you know.
All right. Let's move to the Vanguard newspaper now. I work to reconcile, not endorse, says Bishop Hassan Kuka. This headline here has multiple writers. Says his mission to Ottawa was spiritual, not political. A meeting originally planned for just 3 persons. And Obasanjo invited Oyedepo, Gumi, PDP.
But Mike, when you look at it, why do we make a mountain out of a molehill? I must tell you. These are men of God, in quotes. These are people who, they have a lot of following. They have a lot of, people respect them. They are opinion molders and all of that. In the days of, just look at the Bible, you find that men like that, they had an idea, they had a way of putting government on its toes. So what is wrong?
Even in some African countures, up to tomorrow.
That's it. What is wrong?
They have a stake.
What is wrong if they say, this is it? Why don't you make peace?
Well, you know, in this part of the world, because we are still developing in the way of managing information and managing news, if there is no clarification, it swings a lot of people in a certain way. And these people have their integrity to maintain. And that is why they have to come out to tell Nigerians, no, to break it down for everyone to understand that I wasn't involved in this regard. I was involved this way.
But remember, in Nigeria, you're saying something, you're telling the people they have an idea what they want to believe. They believe what they want to believe. They see what they want to see.
Yes.
But the gentlemen have said, look, we only went there to broker peace. But of course, some men of God also visited the president. So why is there so much hue and cry about this other person?
I think it has to do with the position these people occupy. All right, 42 senators not returning in 2019 and 67 battle to return. All right.
Why does it have to be a battle?
Well, because they're still contesting.
They're still contesting anyway.
And where they're contesting, their opponents have what it takes to shave them off. So the point there is, it is a shoulder-to-shoulder or 50-50 where you can't determine if they're coming back.
I'm a proponent of, it's either you can do the job. If you cannot do the job or get the job done, then get out.
Yeah.
Well, is that what we've seen in Nigeria? Is that what we really seen in Nigeria?
The concept of doing the job is always relative to the...
if you can't perform,
you know, if you put in mind the prohibitive amounts of the forms, you know, then sometimes you ask yourself, is it about being able to the job,
why are the forms
or being able to afford to do it?
You know, the cost of the form is part of the capacity to perform.
We need to demonetize politics.
All right, Ganduje sues publisher as second batch of bribe videos surfaces. All right, this is still on. We'll wait to see how these this plays out. Now the point is, if you saw that video, and bundles upon bundles of dollars were being handed over, crispy, exactly. Handed over to him.
Someone that looked like...
Exactly. That's why it's an alleged. Exactly. It's an alleged.
Okay.
So the point there is, and it looked like he was putting it in his, you know...
So the person that looked like the governor.
Exactly. In his Babariga and all of that. So some have said, you know, on social media, a lot of these things come out. Some have said that there were monies paid to him as bride price for, you know, and all of that. The others said his bribery scam, or his bribery, or whatever, monies from bribery and all of that. But I think he has his name to clear too. Yeah.
So and you wonder who recorded that video?
I think it was a journalist. Exactly. It was a journalist because there was yesterday a story broke out about a journalist saying that his life was being threatened by some aides allegedly close to the governor being accused of this, you know, and all that.
We'll just wait and see what happens.
Yeah. He's suing now, so let's wait to see how these things play out. All right, plot afoot to arrest detained Fayose indefinitely. PDP is saying that the federal government defends borrowing while reserves are falling. Emefiele, the CBN governor, is revealing that. They're talking about defending the Naira, okay? That's the Vanguard.
And the last, but of course not the least, the Daily Trust. Major story, bribery videos. Again, Kano Assembly sets up investigative committee. We talked about that in the earlier paper. That was the Punch. So we'll go to the other stories now atop it. From the left, 2019, INEC insists APC has no candidates in Zamfara. We already brushed it too. Beside it, Boko Haram kills another health worker in Borno. That was already looked into as well. Then battle for power lines rages as phase 3 TCN beaker over fiber optics. Talking about the energy sector. So we'll come down here. My role in Obasanjo Atiku reconciliation, Bishop Buka. Beside it, missing general, we know the culprits, army.
Bring them to book. Once you know the culprit, bring them to book. Take them to court. Things need to begin to happen. Do you understand? So that we don't just keep sweeping stuff under the carpet.
These are the things Nigerians will always say. When government says, no, we know those behind, bring it out.
What are you doing?
If you don't want to put it out there, the right processes are there. Go to court, sue them to court, charge them or something.
And about that list that the government has said, it's the list you're seeing has nothing to do with us. That's not. Then come out with the authentic list. I always say, where there is lack of information, fake news.
Fake news, to fill up the vacuum.
That is what fuels speculation.
Yes, Tokoli is arrested for defiling 6 girls at Ejigbo. We talked about that.
Let them face the music. Because when we hear about Nigerians, wherever they are, they commit an offense is all over the place.
It's all over the place, exactly.
Talking about it. So if these people have done, if it is, if it's found out or discovered that what they did was truly wrong, face the music.
Absolutely. Okay, well, the Daily Trust has been keeping track of the days the girls, the Chibok girls are missing, and today makes it 1,642 days since the Chibok girls.
I'm thinking
many of them anyway.
I'm just thinking about the mother, the father, who just keeps hearing about his daughter, her daughter, on the pages of newspapers. What does it feel like knowing that your child may still be alive, but you can't see them, you can't touch them? 1,000+ days? Well, the government needs to do something. This is the time now that they need to tell Nigerians what they are doing to, get the release of those girls. We can't continue like that. A political year comes, people go out to vote, you get back to office, you drink champagne, you have no idea what it is that the poor people are facing. Something is
in other climes, when government fails to return or provide, or the commission or omission of government sometimes can make people vote government out.
Straight up.
Generally. And we've seen it in 2015. A lot of people said, well, the Chibok girls issue, the inability of the government at that time to rescue or
to first of all believe that it actually happened.
Anyway, we had gone past
really
that.
Affected
but exactly, to a great extent, people voted and said, well, if you can't protect the people, why do we have to vote you?
And the government that came in promised to secure the release of those girls.
In fact, it was part of the
some were gotten back
campaign.
Anyway.
It was part of the campaign.
Came back.
Some came back, it was part of the. But the point there is, if you are able to release or work through international organization or other governments to secure this, then you should do go all the way.
Just do it.
Every life matters.
These are people's children.
Exactly.
Yes.
You have
they are Nigerians.
Christmas, every other festivities you spend with your own children. And who has an idea what kind of conditions these children are in? We just need to do something. So we don't
really
all
right, let's look at this picture, this standalone picture. And of course, it's a picture of people sitting, elderly men and women sitting, and they are former employees of the defunct Nigeria Airways waiting to be screened in Lagos. And that was yesterday.
I hear there's going to be a Naira rain.
Exactly. Yeah. The federal government
they've approved about
45 billion.
45
billion.
45 billion.
Yes. So how I'm wondering how they're going to
package.
I'm wondering how they're going to disburse that money. Wow.
Well, it shouldn't be a big issue. There's a list.
That's why they're screening them. Is there data?
Yes,
well, I think that's why this process was put in place.
They have their unions. They have the records. The records are there as to the fact that
the workers.
Nigeria Airways was defunct doesn't mean they don't have the records.
Michael, I just hope the monies won't end up in other pockets.
Okay,
you understand how it is. I just hope so.
All right. Now, there was one troubling story. Sorry, let me bring this back here. There was this troubling story. You know, people always talk about the high-handedness of the police and all of that. There's this picture on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper that truck drivers that were obstructing traffic, according to them, were brought out, told them to pull their shirts, and they lie down in dirty waters on the roads and bath in the water.
How did we get there?
Is that supposed to be the
How did we get there?
You know, that's the picture. That's the picture there, and it's really troubling. Why should the Nigeria police? These are very uncivilized way of
very troubling
punishing anyone who has contravened. Yes. And all of that is really sad.
And that is, of course, is coming at the backdrop of this picture, the second picture of the beside Liman, the one killed by Boko Haram, the two allegedly killed by the police as well. In fact, I saw the story yesterday. I think it was
in Abuja.
Ukeri and then another lady
very
allegedly
sad.
Killed.
I think the police needs to begin to launder its image. When you have a problem or you're in trouble, you're running into troubled waters or something, you think that going to the police would give you some kind of respite, but you get there, the things you hear, they tell you bail is free. You get there, you're hearing something else. Something is missing, they want to investigate, they ask you to pay. My bag's been snatched years ago, and I got there to lodge a police report, and the idea is, madam, you need to give us X amount of money because we need to file an investigation. My bag was stolen. I have my phones and everything in this bag. So they need to begin to learn. But they are good policemen.
Absolutely.
They are wonderful policemen.
So many of them.
I had a flat tire on the 3rd Mainland Bridge on this particular day. Wow. It was a policeman, very close to where you have the police point.
Okay.
It was a policeman that changed my tire for me. And I was looking at the man. He went down, did everything, changed the tire, fixed it back, and
you know, that's not the first time I'm hearing this story.
Wow.
In fact, Nigerians have gone to social media to talk about the police officers on the 3rd
Mainland Bridge.
Not the first time,
you know, the change, and I was so impressed. I was so impressed. So each time I'm driving past there, if I have the time, I just park somewhere, I buy some takeaway, because I had never seen anything like that. He went down, dropped his guns and everything, and changed my tire for me. You know, people were just driving past. They thought something was wrong, but there was nothing. And that's to tell us that there are policemen who have this, you know, kindness in them. But some can be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Some can be a nightmare. Sure. They find out one thing. You don't have this, you don't have that, you don't have that. And that's it. They just destroy
One once said in my presence to another person that I will shoot you and get away with it.
For real?
Yes.
Said that.
Yes.
Well,
in civilized countries, all you need is a recording or a video of that person, and that's it.
That's enough to.
We need CCTVs. We need CCTVs on our roads.
Well, I think the United States has gone to that level where every policeman going on operation has a camera where he monitors what you're doing and what you're saying.
So how do we monitor we're the ones to monitor what the policemen are doing?
Yeah, we're the ones to monitor. But the point is, you know, when it is your word against my word, if there's no other witness there, then
we too are citizens.
And don't get caught as well when you're recording.
We need to have respect for ourselves and the police as well. I also see the way people treat policemen. It's not nice. You don't drag a policeman by his shirt. You don't talk to a policeman anyhow. But sometimes they tell you this is the way these people have made themselves. But you need to respect yourself. When the policeman says pull over, Anyway, they don't understand what pullover is. It's not like abroad.
Pack is more like a pack.
You know, and they come in, they're searching. Meanwhile, you give it to them, sometimes they turn it the other way. They don't even know what they're looking for. You know, so training, retraining of the police, and they need to remunerate. The remuneration needs to be.
Oh, if we start that discussion,
we can't talk about the police in 5 minutes.
45,000 naira for upkeep of the station monthly.
Ife Onyegbule, thank you so much. It's really interesting to have you on the show today.
My pleasure, my pleasure. It's going to get interesting as we start. This is the time that I love Nigeria.
It's the season. It's the season.
You know, politics. I hope it's not going to be dirty. That's my
fear. No. But did you notice that every time it's political season, the build up to it is like we're going for war. But when it comes to the voting and all of that, everything just goes on.
But Mike, you know what it was like 2014, 2015?
Oh my God! It was like Nigeria was going to burn.
I hope it's not going to be like that.
No, but the point is, everything will be normal.
I hope so.
Nigerians are getting more aware by the day, and they now understand that peaceful election is the way to
maybe
go.
we should just say this also. When you fight and quarrel and kill yourselves about politicians, they are somewhere popping champagne.
No, of course.
Attending weddings of their children, having all the fun.
Because they know that these things are not personal. It's just a game.
It's just a game.
It's like we're playing a draft or we're playing Ludo or something. It is you against me
I saw
and me against you.
a picture of the man who's living in Ekiti State and the wife of the incoming
the
now,
one that will be sworn in.
and they were standing together.
Exactly.
So you wonder.
He was actually
taking her around the government house.
So stop fighting over politicians. It doesn't make
There are no
any
common
sense.
enemies in politics.
That's it.
All right, Ife, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
We hope to see more of you and have more of you on the show.
Anytime, my pleasure.
All right, thank you.